This podcast is in association with the Blast Wing Shooting Kennels, the Rush of the Flush Hunt Club, and is sponsored by American Natural Premium Dog Food, B Mountain Knife Works, and the National Bird Dog Circuit. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Wingmaster's Truth Be Told, episode number 3. What a great day to be back on. It's cold here right now. Son of a gun, is it cold here. We haven't had anything above 0 pretty much. Everything we've been doing is 3 degrees, trying to get everything ready as I'm heading for Louisiana to go training down there. But today I had an interesting lunch with my grandparents. My grandpa actually showed me a picture that I have on my phone that we could show on here it would be my great-great-grandpa, my great-great-uncle, my grandpa, and one of their neighbors all holding shotguns getting ready to go grouse hunting. He actually showed me that today. I had an awesome lunch with my grandparents today before I go, because I usually try to see my grandparents Don and Ann Thompson. My grandma's 85, my grandpa's 87, and I always visit them before I leave for going south, because I'm going to be gone for 2 months before I come back home. So,
how long ago was that?
That photo?
Yeah, how long? Did he say?
My grandpa is 87, and he was like 10, so 77 years ago.
60s. That would have been the 60s then, about.
Okay. Yeah, we got the math.
50s,
we got
maybe
the math
50s.
Man. Huh?
Yeah, 50s.
We got the math man over here.
70 years ago, 50s. 53.
As long as we're on
54.
that subject, when we went on that hunt the day of Christmas Eve, we went grouse hunting. The best grouse hunt we've had all year was Christmas Eve. Man, I mean, the grouse were holding tight. It was foggy. It was wet. They didn't want to fly. Dogs were sticking their noses in their asses, putting them up. We were getting shots, stuff where you couldn't hit nothing, but that's okay. Me and Tony were
Oh, jeez.
When I got done, that's another fun little story for a second. I was talking to my grandpa about that today. He actually told me this on Christmas. I said, hey, I was up at this area that's now put into grouse habitat around here, and it's county land. And I just tell my grandpa where I went, and he says, that was your grandma and I's farm when we were 19 and 20 years old.
No way.
Yeah. So we actually, 67 years later, because he said 77 because he was 10 then when he was 20, 67 years later when I shot them 2 grouse that day was my grandpa's farm we were on. It's fun to think about things like that. But anyway, we're just starting out to have a little fun right now, and I think it's important to get into the topic of training. We've been talking about genetics the last 2 episodes and the building of Wingmasters, and, talk a little bit about the evolution of training, because actually what's going to happen here with Wingmasters is going to be our online training course. And the whole goal of bringing you guys on the journey with us is the fact that, we're, hopefully a year from now, you're going to be accessing the website. And when you access the website, you're going to be able to go in and start training your puppy, or if you have an older dog, or if you got a dog that needs some problems, that you have a problem with the dog, you can go access our problem solving area.
One of the biggest questions that are going to be asked to you is, I have a 4 or 5-year-old dog, and now that you're just coming out with Wingmasters, I didn't have it as a puppy. Can you teach an old dog new tricks?
Yeah, and what was funny about that is you're saying, there's multiple answers to that. But one thing is, I literally got on the phone. I got a conversation today of somebody, their dad had dropped the dog off, 2 dogs off to be trained here. And the dad dropped it off, and the daughter of them said, well, it would be the daughter-in-law called and said, hey, I think our dog's in training with you. I think my father-in-law dropped their dog off, and we're kind of wondering where his dad took it, where my husband's dad took it.
He just picked it up. I remember
Yeah, he
him
just
telling
picked
me
it.
that.
So I just picked it up.
It's my son's dog.
It's my son's dog. He's got to get trained.
Yep.
So the daughter-in-law calls me and says, "This dog is. I think I'm calling the right number." And I said, "Yeah. Well, what's the dog's name?" She says, "Zoe." I said, "Yeah, we have a Zoe here." And then we start laughing. But I say to her, she goes, "Well, how's Zoe and Shadow doing?" I said, "Well, they're doing great." I said, "Shadow's a little more stubborn, but Zoe's really coming along good." I said, "But you can tell that Zoe's a lot younger." She goes, "Well, actually," and we had no clue.
We thought she was a year old.
We thought this dog was a year old. We had no clue that this dog was 4 years old. So to touch on the subject, can you teach? This dog's been doing rocking here.
Yeah.
Alec and I have been working on her, trained retrieve. And we had no idea that this dog was 4 years old. She was going through it as we just assumed she was 1 year old.
No resistance.
1 year old. 1 year old.
Just every day she wants to come out and work with us. Every single day.
So
and when you show her, when I show her, when we're both working together, we show her something. She understands it and then doesn't fight you after that.
Exactly.
4 years old.
Right. And then we found out the genetics, and it comes from a great breeder. So we know that background. So that's what we've been talking about in the past couple episodes about the genetics making the training easier, right? So yes, can an old dog be taught new tricks? Yes. We didn't even have an idea that this dog was older. And I think I'll elaborate on that a little bit more is sometimes it works out a little bit better. The dog's older, it's mature, it's already learned rules of a household, so it's already had some standards placed on it. The only difference was that it was just never taught to do hunt training. So some dogs are that way. Where it gets bad is if somebody left the dog for that amount of time and didn't give it any ground rules and it's overruling the house and now it's getting snippy or it's getting whatever, it's out of control. That's where it gets bad. So
if anybody comes to Wingmasters and buys whatever program that they're trying to do, there's nothing to worry about if you have an old dog.
No, nothing to worry about.
You guys, it's just as much for you as it is for anybody else.
Yeah, and I think it's important. I'm glad you just said that because I think what's going to be important for you guys to understand is that when you purchase Wingmasters, you don't look at the age. You look at where you're at in the training regimen and the training timeline. Like when I teach my seminars, I talk about the blueprint. If you're going to come to one of my seminars or one of my clinics, I'm going to give you a blueprint in which a timeline or a training line, right? Which let's stop right there for a second because I said two things here. And one thing that I told Alec that my goal was in this podcast is to stop and finish my topics. Because we listened to our podcast over a couple times. Man, I really jumped around. All right. Let's talk about the training curriculum and the blueprint in which you're training for a second and a timeline. All right. In my head, I have about the time it should take to get a dog done with a certain process per training. So let's use the trained retrieve, for example, or i.e. force fetch. All right. Force fetch is the easy way to say it. But the trained retrieve is another way. Anyway, and we'll talk about that a little bit more about that. The lingo of training.
Conditioned retrieve, all the different things. But it's good to teach you guys the lingo of things along the way. But, all right, I know that the maximum that should take me should take me is 8 weeks. That's the maximum it should take me. So I'm looking at a timeline of from the day they come here till the day I'm done with that. Day by day, Monday, let's just say we're training this dog, which usually we're training the dogs 5 days a week, right? Monday through Friday and 5 days a week, and then going towards my 8 week. Now, whether that dog gets it in 3 weeks, the fastest I've ever had is to be done with it is 3 weeks, right? And this is going through from the time we first put give it, make it accept something in its mouth, till the time it'll pick up a bird and come back and heel to you. The earliest I've ever had that done is 3 weeks, right? The longest I've ever had is 12 weeks, okay? So when you get in a section, when you're going to access Wingmasters, when people are asking me about, well, how long should this take? Okay, well, you got to stay in that particular spot of training, that particular program, which in this case we'll call it the train retrieve,
And you need to stay in that until that's 100% complete. Now, whether that is 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5, 6, I'd say the average is 6 to 8.
And for somebody newer, it's going to be longer.
And it's going to be a little bit longer.
You're going to take your time.
So, I mean, what about when you were, exactly a year ago from now? All right. And let me finish my point in what I was saying. I'm trying to stay with this goal here, right? All right. Timelines are according to how your dog is learning the material. Keep that in mind now. Timelines are how your dog is learning the material. So don't get fixated on the timeline.
And the best part, as you were saying timelines and the training regimen, I think it's so funny that you said this because I was going to mention this exact same thing, that you're going to have it organized in sections. So train retrieve. If you're going through the train retrieve, your first main goal, and it's each subtopic is a main goal of the training. First one is mouth acceptance. Right. There's no timeline. There's no day 1, day 2, day 3. It may have taken you 3 days to get a dog accept something into its mouth. Right. But that's the subtopic there that you're focusing on. There's no date that you need to get it done. You work through that and each subtopic, and that's how you're going to have it organized. It's not going to be day by day. It is going to be a little bit, yes, you're saying. But you're not labeling it.
I'm not labeling it day by day, but I'm going to show you each different style of dogs day by day.
For the timeline, you're not saying this is day 1.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that for every single dog.
Yeah, it's not going to be that for every single dog, but I think it is important. I mentioned this to you before that we were going to do the program in, a section. Right now we're just talking about a trained retrieve because it keeps us in a box of getting the dog to fully retrieve and fully bring back, right? Excuse me. So I'm staying in that box right now. I want you to see the day-to-day wherewithal of it because I want you to see that today I'm like, wow, I got these really cool breakthroughs. And then I want you to see where 2 or 3 days this dog may not do anything I'm asking.
Friday to Monday.
Right.
Where you take 3 steps back from where you were.
So like you end up on Friday, right? Okay, and then you start on Monday 2 steps behind what you finished with on Friday just to go back to something that they really know and then see if you can jump to Friday. And if you can get Friday, by the end of Monday's lesson, if you can get Friday to be just as sharp, okay, now you're starting your week on the progression, right?
And it's not always like that.
And it's not always like that.
And that's the frustration that can come with force fetch.
Yeah, and in my tidbits, and I know I've mentioned this many times before, so if you're new to what I'm saying, if you're a new listener and you're like, what he keeps talking about tidbits is on my social media, on Wingmaster's Facebook page, on my the Blast Wing Shooting page, on my personal page, Michael Devon, that you guys can look up, all them 3 pages. Every Friday I post a Friday tidbit, and it's some analogies of training, and it also gives you some life lessons and everything that revolves around training or shotgunning or hunting or dog psychology or betterment in life, right? Some self-improvement stuff for us as well. So when I'm saying Friday tidbits, but one of my Friday tidbits I was talking about that when I went to that first Bill Hillman seminar, and I was standing there, Bill Hillman said a really powerful quote that's never left me, and I mention it at every single one of my clinics and every single one of my seminar. It came from Clinton Anderson, the famous online horse trainer, and now I've got a chance to speak with Clinton Anderson about this online training, which is a whole nother story, but Clint Anderson has been helping me organize the material and film from the horse perspective of how he built his online horse training business for me to be able to learn from him how to build an online dog training system. And he's helped me along the way because he's got 20 years of experience of how he helped people learn online how to horse train. And so I can glean from him to take his experience to be able to give you the best product and best service I can give you online in the future of the Wingmaster website. But he said a powerful quote. Bill Hillman quoted Clinton Anderson. And what he said was, his frustration begins where the knowledge ends. All right. And if you go buy any, like I mentioned the other day, DVDs. When I was going, I had to have a set of DVDs. And I still see it all over the place. Every time I watch a dog training video, I kind of smirk and laugh because they're producing it with a dog that already knows what he's doing. Like, for example, Alec and I, what did we do? 67 takes that you didn't have the sound right? Oh, my God.
76. 76.
Tech master over here. We're doing a thing about
It sounds worse than it was. It was an hour and a half, but
Yeah.
we were in the cold.
Yeah, we were in the cold, so it's not ours. So, and then when we get done with doing the perfect take, because we're really starting to get it down to what I wanted to get all involved in every clip, and then he tells me the sound didn't work. I was like, Alec, you know what? I can't look at you the rest of the day from it. You got me in the cold for an hour and a half, and we go there. But what you need to see is we were using Cowboy and Thriller, and I said we're going to teach people about how to bring the etiquette of bringing their dog out of a vehicle before they go on a hunt, and the psychology in which we start that. How we start a hunt from the truck was part of the handling program is what we were filming. And you said to me, well, how about we get a dog that just does it a little better? Because Thriller, I said, no. You want to see Cowboy, who comes out like a gentleman perfect. And then you want to see Thriller, who's a year-old, who wants to push his manners. I want you to see the in and outs. And back to my point of what I was saying was, you watch a dog training video, they go, oh yeah, fetch. They touch his ear, he guns down and picks it up. You know, if you're using the ear pressure method, or if you're using the collar method, all right, they grab it. Oh, okay, they go, okay, hold. They roll the bumper or the paint roller in the dog's mouth, and he just automatically holds it.
Doesn't scream, doesn't fight.
Doesn't rear up like a horse, doesn't try to bite you, doesn't spin around in your hand, doesn't try to jump off of what you got him up on.
How misleading is that for people? Because their dog is not doing that.
That is not the truth be told there. When people are showing that, and people don't want to show the real. And that was one thing and that's why this podcast is Truth Be Told, because I'm telling you the truth. There is going to be days where you're going to want to pull your hair out, and there's going to be days where you're going to put the dog away, sometimes 3-4 days in a row, where you go, am I ever going to get through this? And then it goes back to what I said, remember this day. When you get into my tidbit and what we talked about, didn't we talk about that on another podcast? Remember this day? Or was
the first one.
The first one,
Yep,
right?
It was the first one.
Remember this day. When you're in a struggle, remember that day, because a month from now, that day isn't even going to exist anymore. You're going to get through it. Right? And you can use that for anything in life. But you know, when we were filming that, you want to know that behind the scenes of training, okay, things don't go perfectly. People see the end result.
And that's why you're going to show every day of you training that dog.
When I was on the phone with Clint Anderson and he said, I want to give you advice about how to film for people and to help people the best way you can. I said, okay, what's the advice? He said, here's what I'm going to tell you to do. Film the worst dog that you got in that section. You know, like in this case, we're talking about the train retrieve. So this last summer, the worst dog we had was a dog named Murphy. Worst dog I had for training the train retrieve. And you'll see some of him because we're going to be able to use some of the footage that we filmed this last summer. Then we had, what was the mid-level dog we were doing? Was it Nala?
Yeah, I would say now. We filmed 5 or 6, but now would have been
Nala
the
would have been the
mid-one.
mid-level dog. And we're talking about retrievers right now because then we had Virgil, and we had Candace, and we had Ice, and we had, anyway, what was the other one? Oh, Rich's Meadow for the pointers when we were doing the pointers. But we're sticking with the retrievers right now. When we were doing the train retrieve with them, back to what Clint Anderson said to me to finish my point, he said, film the worst one. Film an average one, what an average dog is like. And he says, film one that is like above average so everybody can see. So then you'll be able to go on the Wingmaster's website or app. We haven't decided yet. I mean, if we can get to the app, that'll even be better. And go on there, access the training. And when you access the training, go, oh, wow, this dog's the most like mine. And since it's the most like mine, this is the dog I'm going to follow. So that's part of the advice he's given me. And that's totally correct because all these dog training videos, I laugh at them. They show the dog doing it. They show the dog doing it perfectly, you know? And so, or I was watching one that somebody had sent me. They go, you thinking about doing something like this? Somebody sent me something. Said, is this what you're thinking about doing? And I was watching it and I'm like, yeah, except for I watched what the guy did there. And then he didn't show you for 3 days what happened. He showed like 2 things and he says, yeah. And then 3 days later, I started doing this. It's like 3 days.
What happened in those 3 days?
What happened in 3 days? 3 days is a lot of days. I'm starting on Monday and finishing on Friday. If I have a client, if your dog's being trained here, you know, you're going to ask me on Friday, how was my dog during the week? And according to my timeline, according to my program, I'm going to tell you, yep, okay, average, had kind of a tough week. Ooh, had a great week. I'm right on track, you know. So You want to have them timelines and those training lines, like I mentioned right away at the beginning of this, because we're talking about training on this one. In order to keep you being able to train your dog, there's a lot of you guys that want to train your own dog and have the satisfaction of training your own dog, just like my parents had the satisfaction of remodeling their whole house themselves. You know, that's the whole idea. Do-it-yourself dog training program in the real world, not the BS that you're hearing, and again, like I've mentioned in my Friday tidbits, okay, this is my music. The Wingmasters is the way I look at dogs. Wingmasters is the way I look at training. For my 15 years, well, going all the way back to what we talked about on the podcast and me teaching martial arts and kids and following a curriculum and watching a kid come in at 5 years old and get a black belt, you know, at 15 or 20 years old, watching adult come in overweight and out of shape, and then 4 years later transitioning their whole body through the martial arts curriculum starts there. Well, now bring a puppy in, a cute little guy that's, you know, all energetic and ready to
Little
work.
Benny.
Little Benny right now, you know, and so them little pups like your little Karma and stuff, so fun when you get them, that puppy. And there is like people well, let me finish that. So fun when you get that energy, and so fun to do it yourself like we're talking about, you know. And I want to clear up another topic, another myth busting, truth be told thing right now is, all right, if I get my dog trained by you and he's gone for 4 months of training for a foundation
I know where
program,
this is going.
where the program's gone, I'm not going to have the bond. I'm not going to get the bond with them. They're going to bond with you more than me. No, that's not how it works, because what I'm going to teach is how to transfer the training to you. So you got a trained dog that you can operate now, and that makes you become a handler, right? Now, is there something to be said for you going along with the Wingmasters app or website, whatever one we get to, online training program, and training your own dog and getting the satisfaction and seeing just the little 1% better each day? Is that satisfying? Oh, yeah. Does that build an even stronger bond? Oh, yeah. Does that build even a bigger frustration? Oh, hell yeah. I mean, because if you aren't following a proper program, you're going to go back and watch that video and go, well, my dog's not doing anything remotely what this dog is, so therefore my dog must not be any good, or I must not know how to do it. And then what do? You'll quit. You know? Yep. So we're talking about in-depth training right now. This is the real world. I'm in it, the real world. If you would stand by me, people that come and train with me and mentor me, or come train with me a week or something like that on a specific subject, go, oh, wow, we never knew. You know, when I went back to when we were talking about Toddy, my first dog, and I wanted to get him force fetched, and I went and got him force fetched, and then I started force fetching Bella, and I was mentoring Rick Grant, Perfect 10 Kennels down there at the time. He was just a really good gun dog trainer. And when I got done doing Bella, my first dog, you know, and then on the winning like we were talking about, I said to him, one of the things I said to him was, wow, I did not realize how many baby steps there were. I did not realize and how from A to B, how many micro steps there was, or maybe more mathematical, how many point 1, point 2, point 3 in between just 1 and 2, you know, how many micro management steps there was in between, right? How many baby steps were between each step of training. And you need to see it in the real, right? Okay. And if you don't see it in the real, then what's going to happen is you're going to get frustrated because the dog isn't doing what the video is showing. And you're not going to know what it's like to be in the process of training. Guys, there's going to be so much reward out of it, and there's going to be so much frustration out of it. If you think that I don't go throughout the day and get frustrated, you're completely wrong. The difference is as a trainer, my knowledge tells me what the dog needs, and I can go into my training toolbox of skills and say, okay, I'm going to grab this skill now to get them to understand here better, because you're a teacher and a coach, right? That's what you are.
You know where to tap.
I know where to tap. Oh, that's the best line ever, right there. Okay, that's the whole thing right there. Yeah, we may as well talk about that one.
Well, that's perfect for explaining how you can get something force fetch. You can get a dog to pick it up when I've been struggling with it for a couple of days. You just knew where to tap and I didn't.
Yeah.
And it's important for me to see that because when we're talking about putting the pressure on with the collar, when you're transferring in between collar and ear, put the pressure on first with the collar and then put the ear behind it. It's a lot easier to transition than trying to find a happy medium right away when we talked about that. You just knew where to tap, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is way better.
Yeah, there's a lot of times Alec will be doing something or somebody will be at my seminar or something, and I'll be like, okay, show me what you're doing. I'll say, hold on. I'll grab the dog right away, and instantly it'll start doing it for me. I'll be like, how the heck did you just do that? Because I know where to tap. I know the right area to tap. So that's what Wingmaster is about. It's about teaching you where to tap. Follow along with me and teach you where to tap of my music, of how I dog train and how I've made all these master hunters and how I've made, field trial placers.
Master Nationals.
And Master National plates like we got sitting on the table right now, Winnie's Master National plates. How I traveled the country and built a life around this into, from dog sports to be creating a good hunting dog. But so not to go too out of subject, but it's important that you understand the things we're doing. We're using like the trained retrieve right now in an idea of what you're going on. With that being said, now as you're going, does your dog have a lack of drive? Is your dog being lazy? Was he tired for the day? Or is it just maturity? Okay, now you got that next thing. So assessing the pup. Let's say the pup is 5 months old, right? That's a good base to start from. And let's say that I'm just starting the training at 5 months old. I didn't do much puppy stuff with it. It's day one, 5 months old puppy. All right. Is this puppy coming out with me scared of his own shadow? So let's just take you through a day-to-day on different things that happen to me. So I'm just going to use, I got three 5-month-old puppies right now. Pup 1, pup 2, pup 3, right? I take pup 1 out, and today this pup doesn't even want to go. I got a check cord on it, and I'm going to take him for a walk up and down my driveway and get to know him. This is day one. The pups just got here. And this pup is pulling, doesn't want to be by me, trying to run back to the kennel, tail tucked, scared. So what do? I reel the pup in. I sit down, I pet him. I go walk with him. So what do I got to do with that pup? I got to build trust. I can't start training until I get some confidence and some trust built between him and I, right? Okay, pup number 2 comes out. He's kind of a little sneakish. I start teasing. I take a little bumper and go, come on, buddy, let's go play a little bit. Let's play as the way, which is part of the program, which we call PAW. P-A-W, play as the way. That's an acronym you're going to hear a lot in Wingmasters. So I go out and start just teaching this pup how to play with me. Let's just go play it. And he kind of wants to play with me, but he's kind of shy because he doesn't know me. He kind of wants to play with me. He's kind of shy because he doesn't know me. All right. So I just give him a little bit. And as soon as I get him real high, I go, okay, buddy, I'm going to go put you away for now and put you back in a crate for a little while. Because I want him to learn to come out and want to be with me. Right. And the same thing for that. Let's go back to pup number 1. Okay. He was shy. I pulled him out of the crate. Everything starts in the crate. I pull him out of the crate. I go out. He's shy. He's talking. He doesn't want nothing to do with me. I stop and I pet him, and I stop and I pet him again before I put him back in the crate. And I want him to know that every time he comes out, you're about to come get a bond with me. You're about to learn what a bumper is, and you're about to learn what a bird is. And then you're going to start learning about what gunfire is, and and pretty soon that pup starts coming out. So that's pup 1. Pup 2 is halfway between. Pup 3 comes out, and he's a maniac. And then when I pull him out, he's like running around, and he don't give a crap about me. He's so confident, he's socialized, he don't give a crap about me. In fact, I got to keep trying to reel him back to get his attention. All right, that's pup 3. All right, all them pups require a different way to be trained. So if you all of a sudden start doing too much obedience with pup 1 who's shy and start this obedience train, okay, you're just going to take the confidence more out of them. They have to trust you first, right? Okay, pup 2, if he's in between trusting me and having a good time, but yet is a little bit shy, I start doing a bunch of obedience on him the same way. I can easily tilt him on the wrong side of the playing field here, right? Okay, pup 3, he's the wild, crazy, he don't care nothing. Okay, I'm going to start obedience immediately. He needs a little bit of learning how to sit still and get it calmed down and a little bit of focus.
A lot of people don't know this, but you'd rather reel a crazy maniac dog in than try to push a sleekish, sneaking around dog out. It's much easier to train dog number 3.
It is much easier to train dog number 3. However, it's probably a 50-50 that I get of 1 and 2 versus 3.
Yep.
And I turn 1 and 2 to be just as good as 3. But you guys I want you guys to understand that. I want you to understand that as you're trained. So, and I want, even if your dog's being trained at the Wingmaster facility here, which is also, dubbed as the Blast Wing Shooting Kennel, because that's what my kennel is called here. Wingmasters is the oversight of everything. If you're being trained at our facility because you don't have the time, okay, well, I want you to understand what I'm saying right now, too, for the things that I had to go through with your dog. So a prime example this summer was Nala, who was gun shy. And I want to stop on this subject for a second because this is probably, I don't know, I speak this and I just cringe talking about this subject. More than anything, this is probably the most controversial subject that just drives me crazy. I mean, how many times have you seen me be in conversations with people at a table when we're traveling and I just stop and go, are you kidding me right now of what you're saying about this? Stare down and going, hey man, I'm not giving in and you're not giving in. So, and you might be out there going, what is Mike talking about? Okay. If I wanted to show you that guns are safe as a human, okay, you've never been around a gun. I'm going to relate it like this. I would show you the gun. I would point it in a safe direction. And I'd say, hey, stand back behind me because this is pretty loud, right? And I'd say, you probably want to get back behind me about 30 or 40 yards and plug your ears because the repercussion of the gun is gonna make a loud sound. Because if I was I'm telling you like I'm gun conditioning you right now, all right? And I'd say, get back behind me 30, 40 yards. That way it won't, and this is what you do with kids and stuff too. You don't want kids to be afraid of guns, same as your puppy. So you get them away from it, right? Okay, and I would say, all right, I'm about to shoot the gun now. Plug your ears. Bang, I fire the gun. All right, and then they go, oh, well, that wasn't that bad. Okay, well, move a little bit closer. Bang. Okay, move a little bit closer. Bang. Okay, now put some ear protection on. Grab the gun and don't worry about the kick and shoot the gun, right? And you're gun conditioning a human or a kid, let's just say a human, anybody. I'm not just talking kids. We're talking about teaching old dog new tricks too, right? Anybody. How to get comfortable with a gun in their hand. Like if you want to do some self-protection in modern day world and you want to know how to operate a pistol right now, you got to go through the exact same thing of comfortability of a gun being in your hand. Okay. Now, let's just say that the day that I was about to teach you about gun safety, you walked in.
And I'm just walking around.
And you're just walking. I say, well, let's walk over to the range. Let's walk over to where I'm going to teach you how to shoot a gun. And as you're walking, I shoot the gun behind you. I just shoot it just to see how you react. What are you going to do? You're going to turn around and jump and go, what the heck did you do that for? And you're going to be freaked out and be like, you know what? I've had it already. It's going to give you such a shock factor. You're going to be like, I had it already. I don't feel safe around this. And I'm already scared to put a gun in my hand. And I don't feel comfortable with the fact that you just scared me with a gun already. Right? Okay, this is the best analogy I can give you for the people that tell me, yeah, well, I took the puppy out and I started walking around and I just shot the gun and he didn't seem to mind it. Or I shot the gun and he ran back to the house. You think he's going to be okay? It's like, all right, go for a walk with me then. I'm going to have the starter pistol in my pocket and you're not going to know what's in there. And when you're walking in front of me, say, go look at that nice scenery. Look at how that farmstead looks over. See that cow munching there? Bang! All right, and just shoot it right in your ear and see if you're going to like it. This is the shit that drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. I get fired up about this. This is so unfair to dogs. It'd be unfair to you. Why is this thing still going on? Why are trap clubs still talking about this bullshit? Why do people still have this? Why are we in 2024 and nobody knows anything about gun conditioning a dog? And I had this story from people buying puppies from me. I got some nice puppies on the ground right now and we've been selling puppies. And I've had this story already in the last 3 months of people say, I'm going to take this pup. I'm just going to see if he's right. The other part of it, as long as we're on the subject and as long as I'm on a little ramble here, is then I'll have somebody tell me, this puppy, oh yeah, my last dog was born gun shy. Okay, we just got off of 2 podcasts talking about genetics. All right? This is stupid stories, people, that is going on in the real world here. Does that sound dumb? Oh yeah, it's completely dumb. It would be the same if I said to you, you know what? That baby you just had born, that's an alcoholic. And you'd say, how do you know my baby's an alcoholic? He's never had he's born an alcoholic. What in the hell? I just can't even believe it. Like that this stuff comes out of people's mouths. These myths of training, these myths of gun conditioning stuff. Where is this coming from? Okay, now back to what I said about gun conditioning a human. If I take the puppy and say, hey, get distracted with this bird. You like this bumper? Oh, yeah, that bumper's awesome. And he's chasing. He's going, oh, life's great. I get to chase a bumper. And he goes, hey, how about this clip-wing pigeon? And he goes, this dead bird. And he goes, oh, yeah, I really like birds. And his genetics go on. And he goes, and you go, hey, how about this live pigeon? He goes, oh, my God, this is what I'm bred for. This is what I'm bred for. I just love this. And he's just going happy. And he's going, okay. And then I say, all right, Alec, go back 75 yards. And the next time I throw it, when he's all happy about, this is what I live for, fire that gun. So he goes back 75. This is what I live for. That's all he hears with the bird. And he's like, and he runs to the bird and goes, yeah. Okay, Alec, come into about 50 yards now. All right, you get him all fired up. You go, this is what I live for. This is what I live for. Boop. It goes a little louder. Bang. It's a little louder. And he don't even bat an eye because he's like, this is what I live for.
He's so focused on the bird.
He's so focused on the bird, right? So what I'm doing is I'm starting to engage him to teach that bird, bang, bird, bang. Then I need to switch to psychology. Bang, bird, bang, bird. All right? So eventually, what I want to do is tease that dog when now Alec's right behind me. He's helping me train a gun conditioned dog. And we're literally throwing the bird and shooting right away, right over the dog's head. Then I want him to hold on to the dog. I'm going to go in front of him and just tease him. This puppy conditioning in the Wingmasters program, level number 2. And I'm going to tease him. He's going to be screaming. He might even be barking. I don't even care if he's barking. And he's going barking. He's going, oh, this is what I live for. This is what I live for. Bang! And I throw the bird. And he learns to run at the shot. All right? Now he learns when I hear bang, I'm going to see a bird. When I hear bang, I'm going to see a bird. And before you know it, I conditioned from a far away back behind him. And then I conditioned to where every time he sees me pull the trigger and hears the noise, a bird goes flying. All right, what do you think that dog's going to be like in 2 weeks? I mean, we got videos that we can post. We could probably post right off of this podcast here. They come here at 4 weeks. 2 weeks later, we're shooting their first bird for them with a 12 gauge over their head. That's their graduation day, right? In our puppy program. That pup was conditioned to the gun properly for 2 weeks. But according to everybody else in America, oh no, he was born gun shy. Or according to the Trap Club, just take him for a walk around out in the country and just fire the gun and see if he's okay.
I have the most important question to ask you.
I'm ready. I'm ready because we're already on a nerve already.
How many dogs do you think you've trained in your career? Personal and clients.
About 1,000 is what I figured. 750 to 1,000. I figured it out the other day.
Say they were brought to you, no knowledge of a gun. They weren't already gun shy. Have you ever turned a dog gun shy? Doing it. So out of 1,000 dogs, you're telling me 0 out of 1,000 of your dogs have been gun shy.
0 out of 1,000.
If it was genetic, I'd like to see that stat. 0 out of 1,000 ain't much.
0 out of 1,000. 0.
There it is.
That is 100% the truth. There has never been a dog that's left this facility that you could not shoot a gun over. Never.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Thanks for asking the question. We're on some hot topics, but we're on really important hot topics because part of the thing here is myth busting. Don't believe this bullshit. Don't believe everything that's on the internet. Wingmasters is about truth be told. Well, the podcast is truth be told, but the training program is truth be told. You know, the train along program, which that's an acronym we're going to be using also in Wingmasters, called the TAP program. TAP, train along program. That means you're going to come with me and see what I do every day. And then what's going to happen? If you're training with me each day, you're going to see firsthand on your phone or iPad or whatever you use, you're going to see firsthand exactly what I'm seeing and respond exactly how I'm responding.
The best part of that whole thing is as you, and I think I mentioned this in the first podcast, but as you are training and as I'm videoing you, you're saying your thoughts out loud.
Yeah. And
I am in whoever's watching it and me, that made me such a better trainer because I was literally hearing your thoughts out loud of what went through your mind when something else happened, this happened. I literally was inside your head, and it made it so much more clear on the steps that you have to take for any training process that you did.
Yeah, and you were the perfect timing for me wanting to build this business and now what we've done together because a year ago, you had chaos, and you were taking care of the kennel, my breeding program up here when I was in
And we were FaceTiming.
And it was cold up here like it is right now. So Alec couldn't go outside with Chaos. So he was trying to figure out how to do the train retrieve indoors. And he was FaceTiming and going, well, he's doing this. Now he's balking me on this. Now, should I give more pressure here because he's not doing that? Is he defying me, or can I not keep his attitude up because we're indoors and I can't do as much excitement? And we were walking through that, and you didn't know nothing about pressure. You didn't know nothing about the personality. And I kept telling you, okay, here's why he's doing that. Here's why he's doing that. This is why you're doing that. Tomorrow I need you to do this. And I was giving you little assignments, little baby step assignments each day with Chaos. All right. And that's how you were learning. Well, that's literally what I'm doing in Wingmasters as you've been filming me. Like he just said, I'm literally walking out in what I'm thinking in my head of how to train the dog, the knowledge that's coming forward in my head that normally I would just be keeping to myself and just doing my job. I'm actually saying what I'm thinking, like Alex saying. So that if I say, I even said that, I'd even say everything I was feeling. I go, there was one of them when we were in 90-degree weeks this summer. I came right out and said, listen, I'm tired and I'm hot and I'm irritated already. And I'm about to go train a dog right now. So, and I even said right there, I go, I got to watch myself. And there was a couple times that you were filming that I stopped and put my hands on my hips. And I just took a deep breath. And I was in, and I stood there, and we got this on film. This is real. Every trainer does it. They ain't going to show you that because it's not the perfect training day. Not going to show you that. Oh, yeah, we sit every day and do everything perfect. And every day in our training regimen is so perfect. Everything's so perfect. You never have frustrations. You're never too hot. You never. If you have a bad day, all right, so here's a way to have a worse day. You have a bad day, you go, okay, I want to come get my dog. And I want to go and just go train and get away from work and just go work with my dog. And then you go train your dog, and then he don't do anything that you're hoping. So you're hoping to leave your life, go and spend some time with your dog, and then he don't do anything, and you get yourself a worse day. All right, slow down now. There's a day then that might just be like, you know what? Before I get mad and do anything that's unacceptable here, then we go. Was there days that I did the wrong things early in my career that people try to get me in? Hell yeah. Oh yeah, there's people all the time. Mike was a hard trainer on dogs. That shit's still from like 10, 15 years ago. Because seeing me having a bad day, I learned over the years that I could not let my frustration come into training.
It does nothing.
It does nothing.
It sets you back further.
It sets you way back, right? So the way I trained 15 years ago ain't even close to the way I train now.
I would like to touch just on what you just said.
Yeah, go ahead. It's perfect.
You said you were hard on dogs, but there are times that you need to be hard on a dog. And it's not because you're frustrated or anything, but say they're completely defying you. You know, say you have a force fetch dog and you're in pile work. That dog knows to go pick up that bumper. But he won't.
Right.
There's times to be hard on a dog.
Right, and I think people don't like
but that's the correct pressure time. In terms of pressure.
I think
and you're right, hard isn't a good word. When
right,
applying
I was just gonna say
negative reinforcement.
Right. Well, yeah, and I just wrote the tidbit about that last week. We say hard as a general term, just like we say force fetch as a general term for getting a dog to retrieve, because it's been ingrained that that's what it's been for years. Hard is like, I got to get hard on him. Okay, it really just means you got to get firm.
Yep.
You know, it means I got to get firm with you and be like, okay, no, you're not, that behavior. If something is totally unacceptable, you got to be firm enough to let them know, hey, no, that behavior is not continuing, and I got to firm up here. And then as soon as you firm up and the behavior stops, then you release, because you're like, okay, it's no problem. You release the firmness. Whatever that is. Let's just say, for example, that I'm teaching a dog here. That'll be another real easy one. So I got him on a check cord, and the dog is working recall, and I'm trying to work him recall, right? And I go, okay, come here. And I go here, and he just keeps running away from me, and he pulls against the lead and pulls against the lead and pulls against the lead, and he will not come to me. And I start reeling him in. I get him to it. I tell him, good boy. I let him go back out to the end of the 50-foot rope, and I go, okay, here. And he pulls away from me, and he does not want to come to me. Okay, well, at a certain point, I'm going to start getting that here, and I'm going to start firming my jerks to make you here, to give him some pressure to be like, hey, it's going to be better for you to listen, to keep doing what you want to do on your own. Now, am I dragging him? Am I choking him? Am I whipping him to come? No, I'm becoming firm on what's the expectation is, right? And then when you start becoming firm in the expectation, pretty soon when they decide to comply to your new expectation, oh, then you praise, all right. Good boy, cowboy. Good boy. All right. Now you're starting to, and then you go back and then he goes back and you go, okay, come here, cowboy. And he comes to you. All right. Then rep number 4, you go, come here, cowboy. And he goes, I'm going to go back my old way and see if Mike's paying attention. Then you go, now come here, cowboy. Come here. Firm. Here. And he goes, ooh, okay. I guess he ain't playing around. I guess the last 2 I tried. Now I tested him and he still didn't. Because I stayed consistent in what I was doing and what I was asking.
And held the standards.
And I held the standards. And which you're going to hear me say a lot on in there, right? So hard is kind of the wrong term in relative to being firm, right? So I think that, we've made our point there. You have to understand that day-to-day training is enjoyable, but it can be frustrating. And you're gonna run into roadblocks, just like you're gonna do anything in life. But remember this day is why you hear that quote from me so much. Remember this day, of where you're going. So I think we've touched on that. A good point. You know what I mean? So, but I think right now I want to go into what to expect. So I'll give you a prime example. And if you're new to the dog training world, which a lot of people are going to be when you're going to be doing Wingmasters. And by the way, I mean, if you're listening to this podcast right now, we don't have the website made yet. We don't even have the filming all complete yet. We're taking you on a journey. Like, I know it's frustrating. One person had messaged me and said, Vaughn, why couldn't you just have this right now? And I know that's part of the thing I talked about in the last episode 1 and episode 2, that I could have held it from everybody, but instead I want to take you on a journey. But yeah, it's frustrating right now because people got dogs right now. They're like, man, everything you're saying, I want to start right now. Where is it? And I can't give it to you the way it is. So that's one thing. But at least you can do right now is learn what not to do. And have the dog trained here, or try it to the best of your ability right now on your doing. But the 95% of my calls are somebody calling me that want a good hunting dog. The competition comes after having a good hunting dog. And that's the way you guys should think. That's the way you should think. I mean, even you. I mean, you weren't thinking about doing tournaments or hunt tests or anything.
Never. I just wanted to go duck hunting.
You just wanted to go duck hunting.
That's all I wanted.
And
to bring my dog to bring a bird back.
And you just wanted a dog to bring a bird back because you learned through watching certain videos how to steady him. You had a calm dog, but he wasn't bringing no birds back, right? So, and that's just what you wanted. So even you, when I met you, was just, hey, can you help me?
I remember us talking about it.
Yeah, you go, hey, what should I do with this dog won't bring this bird back? I said, okay, well, we got multiple layers of what you got going on here. So what do you got cooking? So we're going to stay on that subject because a hunting dog is the start of everything in what we call foundation. What the old school, if you read things or, you get on retriever jargon, okay? The lingo is we got to get through the basics. That's the lingo. All right, basics, fundamentals, laying a foundation, all the same thing. If you go to other people's programs, they'll be like basics, then they'll be like transition, then they'll be like advanced. All right, and a lot of people have different words for the different levels in which they're training a dog. Okay, the basics is, and the foundation is a dog that 90% of the world want to hunt with because they hunt less than our standard level. So, I mean, it's hard for me to even fathom, like, when I see a dog leave here at our foundation level who's just a nice trained gun dog, to think that somebody would hunt less with something less than our bottom level, than our than level 1. Level 1's a nice dog at our curriculum, which is foundation level. That's a nice dog. Now, what is level 1? I think we quick go through what level 1 is. Level 1 is a dog that has its obedience. All right. It's a dog that's been injured to birds. It's been gun conditioned properly, like we talked about earlier. Okay. All right. That's 0 out of 1,000.
Yeah.
All right. And then
case closed.
And then we go to, now it's time to train retrieve. What do we get to train retrieve? You must accept whatever I put in your mouth. You must come to me when you're asked to come to me. All right. And you must bring me whatever I send you on to go retrieve. So train retrieve. Go out. You must pick up what I ask you to pick up, which is fetch. You must hold whatever you pick up, and you must bring it and special deliver it to me, just like I said, FedEx Express, right? To me, the bird to me. Okay, that's a process that we just explained at the beginning of the podcast anywhere from 3 to 8 weeks in general, right? Okay, now, where am I going next? This is one of the biggest things in training. Foundation dog. I would say of the I mean, I shouldn't really even throw a percentage on this, but 75% of people that call me want a dual purpose dog, meaning they want to either mostly waterfowl hunting and they go upland hunting every now and then, or they go mostly upland hunting and they go waterfowl hunting.
Very little, just do one.
Yeah, very little, just do one or the other. I mean, here and there I got, hey, just stick with waterfowl and take this dog as far as you can and just stick with upland. But as long as we're at the subject, as soon as I get this dog bringing this bird back to me perfectly, and the last test of that is us throwing a live bird, shooting them a live bird and make sure they come back and heal up perfectly with no chomping, no messing around. Disciplined retrieve, right? Okay. Ooh, disciplined retrieve.
I like that.
We might want to add that in the old Wingmaster repertoire, huh? Here, change a little bit of lingo. So the disciplined retrieve. As soon as I'm done with the disciplined retrieve, we might want to start using that term.
I like that.
Then now I go into my field work. So you look at the first 8 weeks, all right, as my classroom work, which in the old school lingo is called yard work. Yard work is I'm getting this dog to understand the control that I'm asking to have on him and do these certain things for me. And by the way, this is semi the same progression in pointer, but we'll talk about the pointers a little bit later. It co-references on a lot of the same things. And actually with my pointers, that's a whole nother subject, but I actually fetch mine before they're studied, and ooh, will that get the old pointer world going on me? That's great too.
That's going on TikTok.
Yeah, that'll go on TikTok. Yeah. Oh yeah. Vaughn force fetches before he studies them. Well, that'll be great. That'll get everybody fired up about me, but I don't give a crap. But anyway, we're sticking with kind of retrievers right now. All right, which we'll just stay with. And just remember that with the pointing world, we got you covered there too. But let's stick with the retrievers right now. All right, I'm at 8 weeks. The yard work is complete. All right, or what I call the classroom work. All right, now, time to go to the field. What's next? The hardest thing to do is if you want an upland dog is to start studying that dog and teaching heel. The two worst things you can do is make that dog sit before he goes to retrieve when he's young and heel him when he's young, where you get him walking heel right next to you. It's two worst things you can do if you ever want an upland dog. So our dogs don't even learn heel until like the last 3 weeks before they leave the program when I'm training. Because what I want this dog to learn now is get away from me. Go ahead, run free. And whatever you find, because I'm going to plant frozen birds and dead birds and clip-wing pigeons, and then eventually I'm going to shoot you a couple, right? And because he's got the disciplined retrieve, if I go and put a frozen bird, he runs out, he smells it, oh yeah, I love it, I found this bird in the grass, he picks it up, he comes back and heals it up. So I simulate him going out and finding something, bring it back to me. Simulate him find something, bring it back to me. Okay,
and what happens if I put too much obedience on my dog, and what does it do for you if I bring this dog here to get trained, it's force fetched and everything, and you take him to teach him to hunt him up?
Yeah, okay, now we're doing the hunt him up training, and we're starting taking him to introduce him to upland field. What that does is that dog looks to me for everything, and all he wants to do is just stay and become a bootlicker and stay at my heels. He doesn't have the confidence or the know-how to get out and find a bird on his own. Now, we got in our program what's called Seek and Destroy, and at this point, we're in the Seek and Destroy. We got it in the puppy program, so we imprint Seek and Destroy in our puppy program. And then after the classroom work, we go instantly back to Seek and Destroy, which is them getting out and finding something. But except for now, when they find something, it must bring that bird to us disciplined perfectly, right? All right. Now, I go out there and I get them going away from me. Well, then I start teaching the range for upland. And I get my upland started before I ever think about making this dog sit at my side.
You don't teach waterfowl first? Mike, you don't teach waterfowl first?
Oh, my God. Here we go with this again. This is what other trainers say in the country. Wait until he's a master hunter and then teach him how to upland hunt. By that time, you created the best bootlicker you could possibly have. I mean, I'm telling you, I got stories. We won't even go there right now. The longer you keep that dog to sit next to him before you teach him to get away from you, the harder to get out of that psychology it is. I've been through it with dogs that ain't even studied that won't get away from me, much less one that's studied. But anyway, we won't get me on that subject right now. That'll be a whole podcast in itself. But so I'm going to teach that dog to get away from me. Once that dog's getting away from me good and going finding things, okay, now it's time to start teaching him how to mark. Steady him. Okay, now, what does steadiness mean? Sit next to me, watch for birds, be quiet, and wait until you're told to go get that retrieve. That's what steadiness is. What does marking mean? Okay, so now I got him steadied. That means the dog is sitting still. I throw something, I bang a bird, I shoot over his head. He will not move until I say his name. That's steadiness, right? That's a whole nother process that we could spend a whole podcast on. All right. And that's where all your problems come in. Creeping, jumping around, barking in the blind. Okay, it's because your steadiness program was off. All right. Now, honoring another dog, all that stuff. All right. Now, it's time to teach him to mark. I teach him to mark. That means I have to teach him depth perception on land and water. How to pick up a bird out of the water, how to pick up a bird if it falls on the backside of the water, right? And then it goes into multiple marks, and then off of multiple marks. So anyway, the dog ends with the foundation. He's collar conditioned. He's taught in the upland to stay in range. Work with me. Stay in the flashlight. We'll talk about another time. The flashlight program. Stay in the flashlight, which is staying in range. All right. No bird command. You miss a bird or it's a hen out west. You say no bird. He's got to spin around and come back and hunt in range for you, so you don't go chase it 3 yards, blow all the birds out of the field. All right. Okay. Now you want to go to the duck blind. He sits down. He's quiet. He watches birds. You jump up and shoot. He remains seated. You stand up, you say his name, and you send him out to pick your birds up. He delivers them back perfectly. Federal Express. If I keep saying Federal Express. FedEx Express.
Not USPS or UPS.
That's a whole nother story. Al can't figure that stuff out. All right. And it delivers to me in hand perfectly. Okay. 90% of the country that calls me is happy with that dog. He quarters good. He goes on pheasant hunts. He listens. He stays in range. He brings every bird back. He makes these amazing retrieves. They drop ducks in the water in front of them. The dog sees fall down, or out on the land when you're doing field hunting. The dog runs out, picks up, comes back, heels up, jumps back and hut, stays quiet, and waits for the next retrieve, right? On land and water. Okay, it's what we call a foundation dog. Take that dog trained here. That's been 16 weeks. That's been 4 months. And probably if you have the puppy program before that, it's been 4.5 months of training total on the dog. Take that dog, leave here, go hunting all fall. Call me when you want to start doing the intermediate work. Right.
And if there's one thing that I could say, and I think you literally mentioned this today, is if you have a puppy or plan on getting a puppy, please, and you plan on getting it trained by Mike, please, I ask, send it through the puppy program.
Right.
It is one of the best things you can do to make your life easier, my life easier, and for imprinting, it's so important. It's so important. It allows them, I think we talked about this. I know we talked about this with clients. Our goal in the 4 months that they're here, or 4.5 months that they came to the puppy program early, is to give you the best possible hunting dog in that time frame and excel it even if it's done already. If I already finished quartering a dog with you and they still have a week left, we're going to keep quartering that dog and it's going to get that much better.
Yeah.
Or if it's marking at 100 yards and we got a week left before the owners are coming to pick him up, we're going to keep marking him, and now he's pinning marks at 150 yards.
Right.
In a senior level dog.
Right.
Your goal is to move that dog as far as possible in the 4 months after the foundation level is completed.
Correct. So we're going to get the most out of that dog, and then that's going to tell us where this dog is ready for intermediate to advanced training. And if we're talking waterfall, that goes into double marks and blind retrieves. And the hardest thing to teach a dog is to be confident on blind retrieves.
The puppy program literally starts
go back
all
to
of
the puppy
this.
program.
No. That's perfect that you said
perfect.
that. But
Yeah.
even hand signals. The puppy program, it all starts with building that trust, wanting to come out and work with you. That makes even hand signals or advanced waterfowl, in your terms, better for you.
Right. And you're bringing a great point, because I was actually thinking about wanting to mention this on the podcast, and this fits in perfectly. Attitude. I'm trying to keep this dog's attitude at an optimal level, right? And there's going to be days that he's going to give me attitude, and we got to correct the attitude. But when I say attitude, I mean I want him to have a confident attitude, to really want to work for me. And
Every
really
day, what are we going to learn today?
Right. Every day, what are we going to learn? And then when we go on the hunt, I want him to have a confident attitude. When he's sitting there and you're on your first hunt and you're out there, and now today's the day, it's opening weekend. What is more anticipation in this whole world than opening day of duck hunting, or opening day of pheasant hunting, or opening day of grouse hunting? I mean, come on, that's what we live for, right? Now you go opening day and the dog screws everything up. What your opening day is ruined, you know? You go opening day and the dog does one thing perfect, you're going to be like, oh my God, all this training all summer I did, if he did it personally with using a Wingmasters program in the future, or you had it trained by me and you go, oh my God, the best money I've ever spent.
Their first real retrieve.
First real retrieve, when I wrote that tidbit, how you should mount the first bird, the first actual full process perfectly. So this would be, and I'll tell you, go on this right now. You're sitting in a duck blind. Here comes 6 to 10 ducks. They circle, bum, 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 bum. They make 3 things, bum, bum. Jump up, take them, bum, 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 boom, boom. You drop a duck down in front of him, it splashes in front of him. All right, Cowboy sits perfectly. Cowboy's 10 months old right now because he came in training when he was 6 months old. He's 10 months old. He never moved. He goes, and he's sitting there wagging his tail and his eyes are lit. And he's like, oh, I know what I'm supposed to do here. If you just say my name, boss. And then you relax and go, okay, here it is. All the training we've been doing. This is the real moment. This is opening day. All right. And you go, all right, you ready? Cowboy. And he ships out, jumps in the water, swims out there in between the decoys, grabs the duck, comes back, jumps out of the water, heels up next to you, and in special delivery goes, here it is, boss, here it is. Are you proud of me? It's ready.
And all your friends are looking at you.
And all your friends are looking at you like, are you kidding me? That just happened? Everything just went perfect? Instead of a run out there eating their ripping feathers out, plucking the bird like it's some chicken dinner out
there. Scaring off all the birds.
Yeah, scaring off all the birds before they land.
Nobody wants to hunt with that.
Nobody wants to hunt with that. And you people that are probably laughing with me right now are going, oh yeah, that's my buddy's dog. Or the people that are, oh yeah, that was my dad's dog. Or that's my dog right now. I don't know how to get him to do it. Well, hey, that's what the Wingmasters education is about. That's what we're here to talk about. But when I'm talking about the how proud you're going to be the day that they do everything perfect for you on that first hunt at 10 months old, all right? And then that goes back to what the story I started. I tell people, if you have that perfect process, I don't care what that bird looks like, that's the bird you should mount. All right? And that's for you waterfowl hunters. And they go, and somebody's going to tell you, they did it to me, and I wish I'd have never listened. Oh, no, that's an early bird. You want to mount one later on when you got 3 curls. No. That bird later on, that dog's already got 90 retrieves by then. You know, depending on how many times you go. But hypothetically, you hope that every day you get full limits, right?
Being a waterfowl hunter, that's my biggest regret was I didn't mount the hen Woody.
Yeah.
With Chaos. That first
right.
So that's why I did all the upland birds.
Right. So mount your first bird, right? Okay, now, if you're an upland hunter, so you got that. These are goals for you when you train your dog. These are in-the-moment goals. All right, now you're going upland hunting. You're out west. All right, and I'd recommend this on a wild bird hunt. All right, I wouldn't mount the first bird you shoot for at a hunt club. All right, and the reason why I wouldn't say that is because you're setting up kind of a simulated hunt. I'm talking if you go grouse hunting or wild pheasant hunting, right, and your dog has to outsmart its prey. And he outsmarts and puts that bird up, and what do? You dust it in the moment you make a good shot. And he brings it back and heels it up to you perfectly, and he outsmarted that wily rooster. He outsmarted that grouse here in the Northwoods of where we live, or that sharp tail, or that quail, or whatever it is that you like to hunt. And that gets you. And he brings it back, and you go, right here. I'm mounting that. That was a perfect process. That bird was going to double back. He tracked it. He pinned it down. He flushed it. Or if it was a pointer, it was about to double back. He pinned it down. He pointed it. I flushed the bird. He stayed steady. I dumped it. He went there for a pointer. Okay, if it's a flusher, he went in, he retrieved the bird, brought it back heel, he recovered it out of them cattails for me, which I don't even know how he found it. I'm going to mount that bird. I don't care how long the tail feathers are. I don't care how young the bird is.
It is the best feeling in the world.
Best feeling in the world. And if you're a new bird hunter, get it. If you're an older bird hunter, I don't care if you've been doing this for a long time and you've had dogs. When you train your first dog or you get your first dog trained, mount it. Listen, right here, if you're not looking, if you're driving down the road listening, we got a picture of Winnie that my parents gave me for Christmas. It says in remembrance of Winnie with her when she was the 2011 to 2023. And I have things mounted by her, and the memories. There's gonna be a day where you're gonna look at this bird right here. This bird that's in the podcast right now. Everybody's got a grouse right up here. Is a bird that I wrote about on my social media about when I shot this for Winnie before she won the world championships off of puppies. This grouse that's right above us right now, that's sitting in the podcast if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening in the truck, we got a grouse right above us that I had mounted for Winnie. Okay, these memoirs that you make are something special so that later on, their legacy lives on. I look at that grouse, I know the exact story of what that grouse means to me. I look at these 2 Master National Plates, I know the exact story of how these 2 National Plates went for a week, right? I look at the Dead Mountain Roosters stuff I got coming. I know the exact story. I look at my trophies. Every trophy I got, I don't know what I got, 36 Super Major wins. I mean, you can't see over here to my left on the camera, but There's 14 cups up here that are big super major trophies. And we had them on the table in the first podcast, the big cups. I got another, 20 in the basement. I got so many trophies that I'm just stacking them I don't know. They're just filling up a room, but it's awesome. But every one that you would say to me, if you walked down there and said, hey, Mike, what about this one? I would tell you the exact dog, exactly where it was, and exactly how that run pretty much went. And because that's the memories that I've created for myself. So this is where we wanted to bring you today. The training gets you need to see the vision of the excitement of where you're going hunting. The problem is people get wrapped up in the training and they forget why you're doing it in the first place. To go make memories hunting, right? And then now if you are an adult and your kids are coming to age of hunting and you're like, okay, I want to get my kids in hunting. You want your dog to be disciplined so that your kid can shoot a bird. You can take them on a youth hunt. Like in Wisconsin, we have a youth hunt. And you take them on a youth hunt. You just control the dog. And then you just let that dog go and do its work. And then what are you going to remember? Oh, I remember when my kid was 12 years old and Cowboy went and retrieved the first duck my son ever shot. At 12 years old, the first mentored hunt I ever took him to. And we got that bird mounted out there. And what are you going to remember that? Now your kid's in college. The dog has passed away. All right. And every time you look at that bird, you go, oh man, what a great day that was with my son and that dog. You know, those are huge moments you're creating, but you can't create them with an uncontrollable, untrained dog. You're actually going to ruin your hunt. You know, so this is the importance of what Wingmasters brings to you. And I hope that you guys are feeling the energy of what I'm talking about through your speaker of your truck, or if you're watching us on YouTube. The reason why, I wanted to get on this podcast and do Truth Be Told is because of what I'm telling you right now. These are the reasons. We're taking you on a journey with us. I still get the same rush. Now, if I have I didn't get the magical moments I wanted this year with a couple of my young dogs. If I get a magical moment with a dog I'm really high on, I'll mount that bird for him too. Right? Or at the very least, if I'm like, okay, I got too many mounts because of all the past dogs, all right, at the very least, I'm going to take a picture and get it framed. Right? At the very least, if you didn't mount the bird, take the picture and get it framed and make sure you remember that day, because some times go by fast. But, this is important stuff we're talking about. So, all right, well.
I think if you go to the 10% of people, we talked about the 90%, what they want for a foundation level dog. Now, say I'm one of the 10% and I want something further. I come to you and I want something further than just a foundation level dog. Where is that going to take me in waterfowl and upland? If I would like both.
Yeah. In waterfowl, it's actually opposite of what you would think. You think you're going to shoot the birds and you hope they all land in front of you. You hope that they all land in front of you right in your decoy spread and they fall in, but that's not
I want my dog doing septuples, sevens. I want him doing sevens. Bring him to you. I want my dog to retrieve about 7 birds.
And you can teach a dog to do multiple marks, and in general, they can do a pretty decent job if they see it fall. But what happens when they don't see it fall? That's for you guys that are new to retriever training. It's what's called a blind retrieve. That means it's a blind bird down because the dog did not see the bird go down. So now what are you going to do? How do you get the dog to do it there? Well, there's all different old redneck ways of trying to throw a rock that far. There's where you sluice the water, which I would recommend. There's all these different ways to try to get
marbles. If you just have a foundation level dog, that's a tip.
Yeah, we actually
marbles.
tell you it's actually a tidbit. It's like if you drop 4 ducks in a spread and you send him out there and he goes, why are you resending me? I already picked up the one closest because he's young. Just drop a marble or a rock next to the next one. He'll look out there and go, oh, you mean right there's another one? And he'll go out there and get it every time. We actually teach that at our foundation level because the dog's only 10 months old or it's only his first season. So help him as much as you can. But then when you come back after that first season, you go, all right, I want to get a dog that now I can run a blind retrieve and be proud of. So the bird is, it's sailed 75 yards, the wind's taken away, and now the dog can't see it anymore. I can literally send it out, stop it. It turns and looks at me, and it looks for a directional or a signal and if you've never seen a blind retrieve before, it's the most amazing thing. And I give it a hand signal, I give it a hand gesture, and it goes the direction in which I put my hand up in the air, right? And that's the easiest way I can explain it for somebody who don't know what it is. I'm going to assume that you guys kind of heard of blind retrieve before if you're listening to my podcast. So I give a directional and I cast him, which is called casting. Casting means each time I give him the signal, he takes the direction in which I asked in the progression towards the bird, right? That's casting. And I sent him there, and now I ran my first blind retrieve when he picks it up. I'm going to tell you what, on a real hunt, like we run blinds all summer getting these dogs prepared for hunt test.
And look at the intro.
Yeah,
Gunner's doing a
Hunter's
hand signal in the intro.
And I'm doing this stuff, right? And we could even post the dog running a blind retrieve off of this too, because I got videos that we got stored for that. All right. And I cast him there. It's the hardest thing to teach a dog, but the most rewarding. And the day that your dog picks up the first blind, they didn't see go down, that you cast them and you hand signal them all the way to, oh man, that's a whole nother level of training.
And all your friends are looking at you like you blew your mind even more.
The dog is, they're even more envious of you and the hard work you've put in. And you go, are you kidding me? A dog can learn how to be hands? Heck yeah. You can go on my property. You can go anywhere. I don't care anywhere. You drop something 275 yards. I don't care. Cowboy's going to get it. Show me where it is. I'll get him there. Across water, across 3.
Grab my field trial whistle.
Yeah, grab my field trial whistle. Let's go. So, I mean, and that's the level there. Now, on upland, all right, I think it's in advanced upland, it's important to have the ability to be able to whistle sit the dog to a bird. So you're pushing a group of birds. The dog's getting out of range because he's tracking birds. Whistle sit him. He sits down. You move up into range behind him, release him, let him regain the track. Otherwise, your only other option is to call him off the track, move forward with him, and try to get him to regain the track. Well, if you sit him on the track, right? Okay, and you sit him on the track, well, then you move up to him. Well, he's already sitting where the scent still is, and he just regains the track. That's one reason. The other reason why it's so good to have a whistle sit is because if you're coming to a pinch point, whistle sit them. Tell guys to flank the birds, get around, or you flank the dog even. Get up ahead of the dog a little bit, release the dog, because the bird's going to pop in front of the dog. Unless it's trying to backtrack. If it's trying to go behind you and backtrack, well, then that dog's going to pin it in between there anyway.
You ever do that in grouse hunting? Have you ever whistle sat a dog in grouse hunting?
Yeah, it's a little bit harder in grouse hunting, but I have.
Because you know all about pinch points with grouse hunting and how important it is to get in the optimal position. I was just curious if you ever whistle sat a dog.
I have. It's a little bit harder because it goes a little bit faster. If I can see that the dogs are truly working a bird fed, yes, I will whistle sit and bring them up. I have. But definitely more in the open prairies of anything.
Or tournaments.
Or tournaments, if you're going to go to tournament level, or if you're going to go hunt clubbing, or if you're going to become a guide. So if you're going to take a kid, like if I'm going to take a 12-year-old on his first hunt at my hunt club, the dog's going to come up. He's going to start smelling a bird. He's about to go flush it. I sit the dog. I tell the kid to get his gun up and be ready and be safe and tell him, okay, you're not to shoot at this bird until the bird is above your eyes, right? And I can control the flush of the bird in order to make it completely safety for somebody to learn how to hunt. And that, I'm not just talking about kids. I'm talking about people that are learning how to hunt. If I'm in an upland bird dog tournament, I can whistle sit. My adrenaline's going crazy. This is what we call the money bird. This is it. If I shoot this, I get $5,000 in my pocket. I win the whole national championship, which is a whole nother winning story about that. And I shoot. I go, I breathe out. Okay, relax. Release her. She goes in. Boom. I can take a second to get my mental management kicked in. So adrenaline don't take over, and I just go, oh, and then I lose concentration because my adrenaline took over on a tournament. Yes, that would be your advanced upland, right? And then there's a few more things on that. But this is what you guys need to understand in training. Dive in. Follow with me in training. I think we've jumped on and gave a good start. I'm giving you, I'll kind of end on this. This is what one of my martial arts instructors said. I kind of just gave you a seminar, an online seminar, a talking seminar, a webinar, basically, right now of a vision of which you want your dog to be. And
you bring them to you to get trained.
Correct.
For a specific reason.
For a specific reason. But not even that. I'm just saying I'm giving you a vision of which how you want your dog to be when it's trained. And when I talk to my martial arts instructor, I'd say, okay, at a seminar, or like we just talked about, if you wanted to look at this mountain, we get up in an airplane and we drive around or we fly around that, and you go, look at that crevice, look at that peak, look at there, look at how there's a shelf there, look at where you could camp there, and you fly around in the airplane. All right. If you really want to see the mountain, if you really want to go,
Put on your hiking boots.
And hike that whole mountain and find every little spot. Okay, that's training. I'm giving you a vision in which you want that dog to be able to react and be on there. But hey, guess what? With Wingmasters, put the hiking boots on. That's what we're doing. You're putting the hiking boots on. So I thank you guys. I thank the sponsors that have been coming there. I think it's been a great start to the new year. I appreciate every one of you guys that's hanging with me on these podcasts. Like we talked about, we're going to have guests. I got my guest lineup coming, and we're excited to figure out who our first guests and stuff are going to be. And some of the guests are going to be popular guests that, some of them are going to be people because there's a specific message that we want to give. And so I'm just enjoying getting you guys to hang with us and understanding how deep this is. I think people just think I get a puppy, I go out, I show it birds, I shoot the gun, and I go hunting. And anybody that's been around me knows that this bird dogging lifestyle is way deeper than that.
Exactly.
And you know it from this standpoint too. So, all right. Well, thank you guys for everything. I hope you enjoyed this one too. And we're going to be on to the next one. And thanks for the support. Again, go to the YouTube and like and subscribe on YouTube, please. Go to our Wingmasters Facebook page and like and follow that. The Blast Wing Shooting Kennels is the kennel page. If you're looking for a spring puppy, we got some litters. We got Ackley right now in our whelping room. Going to have puppies this
Looking
week.
at us.
Yeah, she's looking at us right now. She's like, hey, guys, what are you doing in there? And and so we got spring puppies. If you're wanting a started dog, if you're like, you know what, I want to skip the process. I just want to get a trained dog and go start training and having a good time. We got some nice started dogs right now too. If you're thinking for pointer world, I got some nice started English pointers and stuff like that. So in my world, I set people up with the right dog. Some people want a puppy and train it themselves. Some people want to get a puppy, have it trained by me. Some people would just like to get a started dog that's already trained and just skip all that and go right into it. It's already housebroke. So what you got, we can help us. So if you're in the market for anything dog related, don't get screwed by anybody. All right. There's many stories I have on that too on another podcast. And just hook us up and know that we're always here and that your resource of Wingmasters right here with us. So thanks, Alex. It's been another good one. Another good one in the books. Thank you for hanging with us, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great week. See ya.